All right, so we've got Arav Goswami, who may or may not actually play. Hey, he did play. That's good. Thought I was going to have to try to find a new opponent. I feel like I haven't been playing great chess lately, but, you know, we'll try to get back on the horse here, I guess. I played an OTB game yesterday, which I reviewed on my stream, where I blundered a piece on move like 12 or so, and then I sacrificed a piece later, and then I was down 2 pieces, but my opponent's king came up to c4, and then I checkmated him. Okay, so it's a Grunfeld. The Grunfeld for me is an opening where, like, I know the main line fairly deep. Like, I know the main line about 10 moves deep, which I guess is, like, common. But, like, I don't know any branches. I don't know any, like, ideas. I just know, like, one line. But, like, most people, like, this is the line. Like, everybody plays into it. I mean, I think black can do, like, different move orders, but I think they're basically doing, like, this, you know. But the main thing I know about the opening is you want to play bishop c4 and knight e2 so that bishop g4 can be met with f3. So you get the bishop out so that the knight can go there without blocking the bishop in so that the pawn can move. That's all I know, really. Other than that, they like to attack this pawn, and white likes to defend it. So I don't know if there's a big difference between knight e2 and bishop e3, but I'm going to play knight e2 because then I can castle right away. Seems like that should be better. I don't know. Knights before bishops is the saying. I feel like that's one of those sayings that, like, of all the chess sayings, that one's probably the one that's true the least. Like, not that it's bad, not that it's wrong, but it's just like there's a lot of openings where bishops come out before knights. Like, this bishop came out before this knight, for example. And this bishop came out before this knight. But I'll still use it to justify my play. So yeah, we just defend that. Don't let him win a pawn. That's the opening plan. Yeah, I wonder what my, like, score is in the Grunfeld. I really have no idea. But yeah, so this is move 10. That's the end of my theoretical knowledge. I just know, like, this setup, and then black does this setup in some order. And then I don't know what they like to play here. I think they can play. I've seen queen a5, which I think is a sideline. I've seen, I think, knight a5. There is some line with bishop g4 anyway. They could exchange at any point, I think. Okay, knight a5, yeah. So the thing with knight a5 is that sometimes the knight just ends up sort of floating out in space over here and not really contributing. At least that's been my experience. So I'm not gonna let him have the opportunity to trade that knight off. I want that knight to just sit there and be terrible. And I used to always fear c4, but I don't think c4 is actually anything to be afraid of. That kind of gives away any pressure black has on the center. Okay, he takes. We'll take with the pawn. I don't see any reason to do anything else. And I think maybe the way that black should play, I don't know. I'm just sort of inventing this. Not inventing, but, like, I'm making a supposition here. Is that maybe black will try to put the knight on c4. Probably I'll be playing queen d2 at some point. That puts pressure on the knight. It also invites some ideas of this. Okay, this seems very strange to me, because I think I'm pretty happy to get d5 in and just have a protected pass pawn. That also leaves this bishop sort of staring at this. It also takes away the retreat for the knight. So I kind of don't think that e5 is a very good move for black. This bishop is not really, like, it looks optically sort of good, but, you know, where's it really going to go? Because if it goes to g4, I'm just going to play f3. Okay, well, pretty aggressive way of playing. Probably I'm going to play f3. Try to maintain the pawn on e4. Also, I mean, this bishop could be the target, so allowing the bishop somewhere to fall back seems like a good idea. Black could try some, you know, pawn storm on the king side, King's Indian style. I don't think I've ever seen the Grunfeld played that way, but again, I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to openings. Okay, he did do that. I mean, I guess bishop c5 is a nice shiny move because it attacks a thing. It's fairly tempting. Nah. If my queen were already here, that would maybe be a different story, because then bishop here, like if the rook went here, there'd be bishop here, and if block, take, and then the knight would be undefended, but I'm not on the knight yet, so I don't know that the bishop's really great here. F2 feels very natural, just stay on this, you know, diagonal that was weakened by the F3 move. And, you know, I do kind of expect, it, you know, black is going to do this. At this point, F4 is, I think, signaling that black is going to play for a kingside attack. So I don't know if the bishop here is really the most relevant square. So let's bring it back to F2. This is weird. We're 15 moves into the game, and I've used 20 seconds of my time. I mean, there's increment. There's 10-second increment. But, I mean, I've had plenty of games where on move 15, I'm down to like 5 minutes. So I guess it helps when, you know, the first 10 moves, everybody plays the same, like they always do. I expect g5 here. And I guess the question will be, what is my plan? Like, I don't think... I mean, you know, given enough tempi, black could do something on the king side for sure. So it has a bit of a King's Indian feel. Like, in a King's Indian, I would be wanting to play on the queen side. And I do have, you know, this protected pass pawn on d5. So I guess my objectives are, if I can get that pawn rolling, great. I'd really like to trade a lot of pieces, because this is the most impressive pawn on the board. If we get to an endgame, that pawn could just win the game for me. Like, if we just traded every piece, like if we just got to a king and pawn endgame, I would assume white would be doing pretty well. Okay, that's a logical move, but it's also the kind of move where, you know, I think I need to seriously consider if black has created some exploitable weaknesses here. I think he wants to allow the knight to... Well, I mean, okay, the queen can move away from the knight. The knight's defended. The knight can drop back to b7. If the knight ever drops to b7, maybe bishop a6 is a good idea. Just because my bishop is not really the most impressive piece. And trading it for one of black's minor pieces. I mean, effectively pinning the knight, because a light score bishop trade would be pretty good for me, I think. All that said, queen d2 seems like a pretty solid move. Maybe there's an argument for queen c2, but that seems like it'll just get harassed by our rook later. But I just want to connect my rooks, because this rook feels like it should be on the c file. Queen a4, I guess, is legal, but, you know, then that runs into bishop d7. So I guess I'll go queen d2. It's not a very impressive square, but I think we just need to get this rook into the game. Still pretty happy with the position. I guess we'll see. So yeah, probably up next is rook fc8 or fc1. Could also try to do stuff with this knight somewhere. I mean, this would be the dream square if we can get it. Difficult to arrive at that square. Yeah, pretty difficult. I still haven't found a way to get it there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess the way to get it there would be to move this pawn and do this. I mean, I don't know that it's absolutely necessary to get the knight there, but could be some idea. I mean, if this knight drops back, a4 could be a sensible move, trying to trade this pawn off. Isolated pawn, and give black an isolated pawn. It would be a passed pawn, but, you know, maybe a weak pawn. I like this time advantage. Okay, he did go back. So I think I'm going to stick with this bishop a6 idea. Because this bishop, like in the King's Indian, this bishop is useful even on its starting square. Because it assists with some breaks over here. Sometimes there's even positions where white plays h3 and black can just sacrifice to open up white's king. And yeah, I mean, this bishop is obviously sort of stuck. So I think that makes sense to do. The downside is when I take, I am sort of developing black's rook for him. But I think that's worth doing. I don't think that rook's going to be domineering on the c file. Like, I'm going to contest it anyway. Was there ever an idea? No, okay, there wasn't. I was just noticing, like, there was some possibility of pushing and playing queen here. Okay, so let's exchange before we hang that. He could throw this in, I guess, if he wants to be a tricky guy. I don't know why that's such a big deal. I don't even really like my queen on d2 that much. Okay, let's bring the rook over as planned. Again, I think piece trades are generally going to be pretty good for me because of this. And even though black, you know, could probably get a pass pawn over here, it'll be an isolated pass pawn. It will be the outside pass pawn, which, you know, could be important. But. So I guess a4 is also a move to think about. But probably was good to do this first, because if this exchange happens, then this rook can come over here, and then, you know, I don't want to play a4 if the rook's not going to be behind it, probably. Okay, that makes sense. He wants to bring the other rook over. I mean, I could basically trade both sets of rooks. I think I will do that, because I'm still operating under the assumption that piece trades are good. It'll sort of require me to have some in-game technique. It's sort of playing for like a really small advantage, but I think it's enough, you know, that it can be converted. Like, I don't know if the computer would say that, you know, like, let's imagine that all the heavy pieces get traded. You know, is the computer going to say that that's winning for white? Probably not. But I think white's having the fun. I don't really see how to improve my position other than, you know, I mean, the knight is sort of boxed out by this knight at this point. Like g3 could be some idea. Okay. That's a bit scary because I guess that knight is going to get to e whatever. I could sack the exchange if I were really bold. I'm probably not that bold. If I had already had like d6 in, then, you know, rook takes would just be a winning shot. But I don't, so I guess I can't. Maybe play queen d3 and just keep an eye on the e3 square. Not let the knight get in there so easily. Don't really want to walk into a pin. Queen c3. I think queen d3 is the way to go. And I might, you know, this is definitely a thought. Like it's the kind of move where, yeah, I mean, I guess it does tactically work. Like he can't. Well, no, he could take with the queen. Yeah, I guess he could take it with the queen. Yeah, he could. So queen takes, and then, you know, the knight is defending the rook, so there's no tactic there. So that just doesn't work tactically. What I was gonna say is it's always kind of scary to move this pawn, you know, because this pawn's good because it can really never be taken. Like, I mean, it's gonna be very difficult for black to get rid of that pawn. So black's gonna have to manage that pawn, especially since there's no undermining move available for black. So if the pawn is pushed and there's not like an immediate tactic, then it's like, well, now I got to defend that pawn with my pieces, and, you know, it could be scary. Well, if I'm still in piece trade mode, maybe queen b2 here. Queen b2 takes, then knight d6 is forced. Then I could trade rooks. The knight has to go all the way back to c8. I'm looking at this line. Take. The pawn hits the knight. The rook is hanging, so he has to go here. Take. And I'm kind of getting that endgame that I wanted. I'm not saying that that's forced. It's probably not forced. But from b3, you know, this is like, you know, could be some idea one day. I think it's worth playing. And I think black will probably move the queen, but, you know, there's not really a fantastic square. I mean, the queen has to stay on the defense of the knight, so that really leaves like c6 and a6. c6, then the knight is pinned. Probably don't want that. It's not easy to add another attacker to the knight, but wait, c6. What? Okay, I think in my mind my pawn was like already here. c6 hangs the queen, so he won't do that. So that really leaves only takes and queen a6, which is not a super impressive move in my opinion. But maybe it's good because it also defends the rook, which is, you know, could sort of be a problem for him. Yeah. Okay. So I was thinking maybe a4 and just prevent b5, because b5 would really sort of solidify the knight, right? It's not too easy for black to get b5 in once my pawn's on a4. Probably black will play bishop f8, try to get the bishop involved. Okay, I still like this move. I'm just making sure knight e3 is not possible. I mean, it's possible, but it loses a pawn. Yep, okay. I think this is good. I'd really like to get more out of my bishop, but I'm not sure exactly how to do it. And I mean, out of the knight, too. I mean, I could try some complicated maneuver to get the knight attacking the pinned knight, although the knight's not pinned anymore. So maybe that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Somehow rook c3 seems like an idea. Like, could try to do this and actually pin the knight. It's so bizarre that I'm the one that's 5 minutes ahead on the clock. Who could believe it? I mean, I've done a good job just finding ideas. Whether or not they're good ideas is, you know, up for debate, but at least I found ideas. They say a bad plan is better than no plan. I don't know if I believe that, but that's just what they say. Okay, I mean, bishop c5 is possible because of tactical reasons. If my king's on f1, it might not be possible. But if my king's on f1, then knight e3 is check, which is bad. Because my rook... Well, my rook's not hanging. No, okay, I guess that's fine. So king f1... My whole idea is if he takes, I want to take, and then... If this were check, then... You know, then this would be back on. But if it's not check, then I can throw in rook takes rook check. And win a piece. So king f1 is such a scary move. Walking into the, I mean, I could play king h1, which accomplishes the same thing, but then I have a back rank issue. Well, it also king h1 after bishop c5. Then I mean, he's just threatening the bishop. So even if I take bishop, you know, that's just a piece trade. I don't really want to do that. So king f1, is there any problem happening to me on this diagonal? That is the question. Wait, that runs into this. Okay, let's not do king f1. Let's not do that. So what to do is the question. And that question I do not have a good answer for at the moment. Maybe I do this rook c3, queen c2 idea. I mean, another like useful thing that I could be doing with my time is trying to get the king to like h2, like h3, king h2. Like that would probably be an improvement. I'm looking at just an absolutely stupid move that I'm not gonna play, but I'm looking at knight d4. Because like if he takes, you know, I don't know, I got some pawns, you know, maybe we can make some stuff happen. I don't believe it though. But I dream. That would be an impressive move. I guess I am gonna do this rook c3, queen c2 business. Like, the c file is the action file. There can be no question. Okay. I'll do it. Now, when he plays here, do I initiate or do I let him? I think I let him. I think. Because, you know, if we are able to liquidate things, then my king moving towards the center will be good. Like, maybe from f2 I can even play g3 already, although I don't know. Like, maybe g3 in some circumstances is a good idea, because if we get a trade and I can play f4 and I can get these guys going, you know, now we're cooking. Maybe queen c2 isn't really an idea right away because of bishop b4, which I just noticed. He went there. I didn't see that. Okay. I might have to play queen d1. I didn't see that move. It was spooky. Queen d1 seems fine, as far as I can tell. But it is spooky. Could probably pre-move this. I think so. I wonder if the knight will just go back. Because I'm still all about these piece trades. I'm still a believer in this endgame, should it arise. I like that he's burning his clock. You should keep doing that. I know something about burning clocks. So if he goes back, I mean, what's my move? Like, I actually don't know. Okay, he did. Because queen c2, there's still that bishop b5 or bishop b4 stuff. It's sort of annoying. So, like, yeah, I mean, a move like knight c1 undefends the rook. Maybe I do this h3 king h2 thing because I don't know what else I'm doing. I guess I could go queen b3 back. That's sort of begging for a draw. That wouldn't be good content for the YouTube channel. I mean, bishop b4 still seems fairly annoying. Maybe I can get away with the knight c1. But what am I even going for with knight c1? Like, where am I trying to put the knight? On d3? I mean, I also need to not hang a4. Can I do the g3 thing? That seems pretty bold. But what is life without some boldness? That's what I'm saying. Pretty bold. But, you know, I kind of like it. Maybe I'm a sicko. Probably the computer will hate it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the computer is like, yeah, just draw, guys. But I don't want to play for the draw. Come on. It's not like this is a tournament. It's online chess. Who even cares? Alright, let's do it. YOLO. As the kids say. Although I don't know if they still say it. Probably they don't. Maybe queen d3 was an idea. I guess that hangs a4. Darn. I wonder if he'll play g5. If he plays g5, I might take, and then like king h1, queen g1, which would be check, you know. Try to turn the tables on him. Nah, but it's only a check. What's the big deal? He's really getting down to the nitty gritty in time. Attacks the rook. I think I have to play rook c1. Is the guy gonna play bishop d2? That's so mean. He might. He could do it. Maybe I play rook here. That allows knight b2. Darn. Man. Is this viable? I can just take. Okay, I guess I'm gonna suffer. That's what it feels like. Because he's getting this square if he finds bishop d2. That's not a good square to let him get. Oh wait, he can't. No, he can't do it because I take and take. Never mind. That's good news. I mean, I guess he could do it. Okay, he took. My intention was to take with the pawn. Bishop takes doesn't look awful, just pointing out that this pawn's a little weak. Meh. I like defending that square. Let's take with the pawn. So yeah, I mean, this is just improving the endgame for me if we can get there. Maybe I'll play queen c2. Is that so terrible? I guess that sort of runs into knight d6. Okay. Well, this was sort of the intention anyway. There's also queen d3, which sort of forces him to bring it back, right? Wait, is this just a move? Is that just good? This guy. That guy's loose. So tactics don't work. So queen d3? Queen d3 also defends this. That's good. Okay, so queen d3. This thing's loose, but not really. Because the queen has a job. I have to be careful. You know, this could cut the other way. Like I was looking at king g2, but that... Well, it doesn't really run into that, because I can take with the queen. That's what I mean by careful. He could also flag. That would be cool. Dang. Wait, what? Doesn't that lose everything immediately? So confused. Why don't I do this? Like, or the queen? Like, I guess the queen's better. That was a strange move. I don't get it. It's like he didn't see that the knight was hanging. Oh, okay. Okay, Mr. Man. Here? There's also check. It's kind of hard to not play that. Ah, time. It's really hard to not play check. But this, like, wins a piece. Okay, let's check him, though. Let's give him a little check. And then win the piece. I don't think the piece is going anywhere. Everything defended, except for that. But don't worry about that guy. Actually, that is defended. I'm just too dumb to see it. Oh, and also this. This guy's not defended. Pretty sure he's not defended. Oh, that's check. Okay, but I can tempo the rook, which is probably a good thing. He's somehow surviving. Sort of. Put some pressure there, I guess. Or get the knight to a good square. Let's get the knight in there. King can hide on h3. Really? It is a little scary. I'm gonna win a pawn back. It is scary though. Okay, I'm just gonna trust that the piece is gonna win. How did he get this? Like, how did he get this position? It should have been worse. Ugh. Here, I don't know. I'm sort of just making it up. Okay, we're gonna have to do this. You push and go here. Okay. It's gonna be really hard to win this. Really hard. Like, I don't know if I'm even playing for a win. Yeah, this looks like a loss. Yeah, this is not good. Yeah, this is gonna be a loss. I mean, we gotta take it. Maybe there's a miracle here. Ah, I can't go there. Wait, can I take? I think I can take. I think that's a draw. I didn't realize I was like super close to the mic there. Sorry. Okay, I think this is a draw. Oof. I don't really know that it matters. Like, this seems like it is winning too, but I don't know. I think as long as I get to the corner. Okay, he just offers a draw. That's better. That was a good game. Man, it really felt like I should, like he just gave away a piece. But it seemed like, I mean, I guess this was kind of stupid because I forgot that the queen was defending this, which I guess was due to time pressure. I don't know. I mean, I had 1:40 left. He had 18 seconds. Maybe I was playing into his time pressure a little bit. But if I take with the rook, then he's only got one pawn, and this pin is still pretty serious. I mean, I also didn't see that he can unpin with check, which was kind of silly. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see a big difference between taking, but I was like, well, if I take with the rook, there's a check. I don't know. It's probably not really serious. But I also liked that there was this check one day. Maybe I overvalued that. I'm guessing taking with the rook wins, and taking with the queen, like, is probably winning, but it's a lot more difficult. I never saw that move. Never ever. So maybe I have to pick another way here. Something should be winning. So he did a nice job fighting, although like this was just like, I don't know about that. Like, I didn't think I really even had an advantage here, not much of one. Like, I thought he could just come and defend, then my a-pawn's almost hanging. The computer says I'm winning here. And then I gave it away, and then he was winning, which I believe, because that endgame got really scary. So I was right that this is a blunder. I was right that he should play this, but it says it's +2. It gives knight c3, which I don't think I saw was legal. Sensible move, I suppose. Alright. So then I'm winning. Taking with the queen is even winning. Like, it's giving +7 to both moves. It says both are completely fine. It doesn't even want to do the check. I guess the check just like doesn't even matter, because like, okay, great. You know, like, I kind of miss my rook and just go back and stop it. I mean, king up might be better, just defend the pawn again, but okay, so taking was fine. And then here, yeah, this is just not the right idea, because I didn't see that he can get out this way. It even wants him, yeah, okay, it was toying with queen a3, but now it says bishop c5 is better. Makes sense. Wow, look at the, it's so funny that I was looking at that move earlier in the game, and then here it is, just like randomly. I was sort of thinking about, like, I did, you remember it, I did mention knight d4, and I was thinking like it would be cool if I got like some weird, you know, adjacent diagonal, you know, king attack thing going, which I guess is the point here. This is crazy. Like, I don't, like, does the guy just get mated? Like, what? Okay, so he takes it, but once queen takes, not bishop takes. Oh, because then we're behind the pawn. Okay, so that's a sort of different idea, but yeah, I believe it. That would have been a sweet move. Knight d4. Also, I mean, attacking the rook too, so he's got to do something. And we're like getting in here, so he's got to watch that. And man, that's a heck of a move. Now it's saying, wait, was this the position? Yeah, now it's giving queen d5, queen e6, which I think I did see queen e6 was legal. I don't think I saw queen e5 was legal. With so little time and, you know, black with some pieces in the neighborhood of my king, it's a little unnerving. But I mean, mostly I just thought I'm winning a piece here, but I forgot that I opened up this diagonal. And I'm still better here. It doesn't like that. Yeah, I mean, that's believable. Yeah, I guess this is better. I was just thinking this is better because of like X-ray or whatever, but it sucks that when he takes, he gets to draw me away from the open file. So we want to go here. At least, yeah, then... Oh, also, if we go here and he takes, then we don't have to take back. We can play check. And then maybe, like, here... I don't know. I mean, we might have to take back at some point. I think maybe that's... thing. Yeah, so... Okay, it's thinking about it. Doesn't really make a big difference. But at least we can check and be on this pawn, I guess, so... Okay. So yeah, that wasn't good. Now there's not much advantage. Because yeah, it's 3 pawns for the piece, and like the knight is the worst piece to have when there's pawns on both sides of the board. Because I mean, you saw in the game, knight had to. I mean, I don't even know how my knight did it. My knight somehow took both of these pawns and still came over here and sacked for these 2 pawns. Like that was really a miraculous escape by that knight. I saw that, but I thought king h3 was fine. And yeah, I actually shouldn't even go into this endgame. That's nuts. Yeah. I thought he would just play king f6. I didn't know what to do. I saw that move, but I was like, my pawn. I mean, this endgame is just too complicated when both players are under a minute. Okay, so yeah, the computer thinks he's a little better. Which, I mean, you know, probably if I let it sit forever, it's either going to trend to 0 or it's going to say black's winning. It looks like it's trending to 0s. But this is, I mean, like, I'd much rather be playing black, I think. It's, you know. Just the nature of knights, like, you know. Like, say it's important for me to get my knight here. But, like, I don't see that, and I go knight here. Well, now it's like, I'm never, like, it takes way too long to get my knight back here, you know? Or like a bishop, like if I had a bishop here and it needs to be here, and then I play like here, like, okay, no problem, then we just go there. But knights are just, it's so much harder to maneuver them. So, I mean, like, I didn't really have any particular reason for playing one move over another here. Like, I was just, like, okay, my knight probably needs to be in the vicinity. I liked this move because I thought maybe I'm threatening this, where then, like, his king can't enter. And my knight controls the promotion square in the dream world where I get to make 1,000 moves. But it wants to play knight f7 check instead. I don't super understand why. I mean, I guess the idea is that it wants to put the king in front of these pawns and let the knight deal with these pawns. I guess, I don't know. And I have to play knight. So now this is table base. So like the position's already been solved. And knight d7 is the only draw. So the idea with knight d7. Yeah, I understand now. I saw this later in the game, but when it wasn't useful. After knight d7, if he takes this pawn, I think the idea is to play knight f8. And then you're sort of forking these pawns and he's going to lose one or the other. The king is perfectly capable of stopping this. So all we really have to engineer is for the knight to sacrifice for the remaining pawn over here. So I think that's going to be the idea. Yeah, knight f8 is the only draw. Whichever pawn he moves, well, if we take here, we're in pretty good shape because then we're ready to sacrifice. So, I mean, he'd have to, like, spend time to come kick us out, but we got plenty of time to, like, regroup and go somewhere else, you know. And our king is in time. You know, we might even have time to go take and then come back over and help out if we have to. So I didn't see that in time pressure. Now it's winning for black. And then, yeah, this was sort of strange. Like Like, I get it, he's winning on the king side, but by letting me take okay, it wasn't here. Sorry, I got mixed up. But here, like, by letting me take this pawn, the margin of error gets a lot thinner, which is sort of what happened in the game. Like, if he makes it difficult for me, like it's difficult for the knight to bridge this gap, right? Like, I have to do like some crazy stuff, and even when I do, the pawn just keeps running. So what he'd really like is to force my knight or king to move way over here, you know? So, like, this is still table-based winning, but from a practical point of view, like, my chances improve a lot since I only have to worry about pawns on one side of the board now. And I actually did, in Time Pressure, find this idea of if he ever gets the pawn to h2 to play a fork and sacrifice. And I wasn't sure. I mean, you know, that's sort of all I can do, but his king's kind of close, so I think he still wins that, unfortunately. And I thought that's where we were going. And yeah, it says h2's winning. I mean, h2 forces this. It's the only try. And yeah, he still wins. Right, yeah, I mean, this is just simple. So yeah, I was sort of lucky that it seemed like he thought he didn't really have to play, like, yeah, I mean, he saw this, like, he clearly did, because that's why he wouldn't play h2, and he's just like, I'll play h2 later, but, you know, I'll get my pawn closer first, but that gives my king time to get into the action, which is what ended up earning me the draw. So now he has to play h2. It's the only winning move, which means that king e2 is a good move, because now he has all these moves that can wow, it's crazy. I'm looking at the table base, and he can actually lose. He can lose if he wants to. It says king h2 is losing, so there's some mate here, which is crazy, but somehow king f2 leads to mate because the king's like trapped. Okay, I have to see this because this is gonna be crazy. Like, this is gonna be beautiful. So let's say he goes okay, we'll look at king h1 first. Wow. Okay, so king f1 and knight g4 both are mate. Knight g4 is mate in 4. Knight g4, the only legal move, is h2. And then we go back to unstalemate him so his pawn can move. And then we go here. How awesome would that have been? Now, I mean, there's like no reason for him to play king h2, but I just think it's cool that, like, there is a losing move for black here, or here. Like, you can lose for black if you want to. Let's look at the other line. The other line was g4 first, but it's gonna be similar. Oh, okay, yeah, this one's actually a little simpler. It's still like a zugzwang where, yeah, he gets mated. Just a little bit different, but okay, that's cute, but not really relevant to the game. But yeah, so now I can actually play more than one move and draw, but I realize that I can just take the pawn and then my king's getting in the corner. So I didn't really remember the method. I don't think the method is that difficult, but I remember that if it's a rook pawn, if it's king and pawn versus king, and it's a rook pawn, and you get the king in front of the pawn, then you draw. So I wasn't sure if there's any tricks, but, like, I saw after takes, like, well, I mean, we did play these moves, and I saw, like, he can't stop me from getting here. Like, if he pushes the pawn, then I just go here, and I'm gonna take the pawn. So since he can't stop me from getting the corner, I wasn't sure. Like, I wanted to be really sure, like, okay, is there some weird thing where I have to go here? And then, like, if he pushes, I can go here and win the pawn. But I was leaning towards this because that's what I remembered, is just get the king in front of the pawn. But then he offered a draw, so that was good. Okay, there's one other moment earlier in the game that we need to look at where I was winning, apparently. Here. It says d6 is winning. Okay. Well, I think the variation of note that I see is d6. Well, I guess that's not really even of note. I was gonna say maybe there's like we have to refute knight takes d6, but we don't because we can just take it. All right, rook's defended. But I was gonna suggest d6, knight d6, rook d6, knight d6, queen check, which I'm sure is also good. Unless I get mated. Jeez. Okay, I gotta be careful. Then probably just queen takes and here. Man, we still gotta not get mated. Okay, what's actually going on there? Queen check. That's a hard move to play. It says you can do this. Oh, because the queen's guarding. Yeah, okay, I'm dumb. Got there eventually. So now he can't take the pawn. We're gonna do this. Yeah, and then the rook's just overworked. It's having to guard this and that. I guess there's no way to... So can we... What if we go like here? Then queen check. And we slither in with the queen. That's quite nice. And I guess if we go here, do we have h4? Oh, well, the rook's hanging. I forgot about that. I'm not so good at tactics anymore, unfortunately. Okay, so that was a miss. My move is good. And this line that I was seeing in the game is actually what the computer says is best. And I thought white was better in this endgame because this knight's really bad. I have a protected passed pawn. This bishop's also not too good. And the computer agrees. But then he went here, and I again should play d6. It's the only winning move now. Now it's a little more complicated because it looks like the pawn is... Oh, but then the knight's pinned, so it can't be taken. Yeah, so I don't think I considered it. I was always just reluctant to move it because, again, if I lose the pawn, I'm not going to be happy. So what does it want after this? Just push. And then it's gonna come in here, it looks like. G3 it's suggesting now. Crazy. I mean, this pawn is a lot to deal with. Like G3, like, I don't know who's playing G3 here. Like I don't know. Okay, I don't super get why we're like crushing here, but I'm not too shocked, I guess. Okay, cool. So those were the big misses. This d6 idea, and then later on, well, I could have probably made life simpler if I had taken with the rook when he decided to sacrifice a piece. And here, this was the wrong idea because it let him get out of this pin, which I didn't see. And then here, I mean, this position is just really hard, but I need to find this idea quickly. But, okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and, you know, write letters to your family about the YouTube channel and stuff. Bye.